three young men called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were three Hebrew children. I say children, they was young men. And they was carried off into Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar came in and he gathered up many of the young men, young princes in Jerusalem, and they carried them away into Babylon, about 800 miles away. Then they began to try to get them to do things that they shouldn't do, and they began to try to change them. And one of the things that they did in changing them was changing their names. And so actually their names was not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That was the name that they gave them in Babylon. But that's what we know about, so that's what I'll refer to them as. Well, one day there were some men came and they said, you know what, Nebuchadnezzar, you're a great king, and you have ruled us well, and we like you, and we want to make an idol. And this idol, we want everybody to fall down and worship it when we play some music. Okay? So we want this idol. See, preacher, what is an idol? Come here, I'll show you. Brother Bill, come here a minute. Hurry, 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 hurry. All right. Stand like a statue. Turn out so everybody can see you. Like a statue. We've got to give the statue something to hold. All right. Put this snake around the statue right here. We're going to call him the snake statue. All right? They made this statue and they called it their God. But they made it to look like Nebuchadnezzar. And so what they said is, we're going to have some music to play. All right? Justin, I'll drum again. Hurry, 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 hurry. Run up here. Run up here. Run up here. They said, when you hear the music, chopsticks will be fine. They said, when you hear the music, I want you to fall down and I want you to worship that thing. And they're supposed to act like that's some type of God. Everybody lined up outside and did that. I need three really good young men that's being quiet, that's being good. All right. You're being real good. What's going on there? Yes, you. Come here. Yep. Everybody else bowing down. The music was playing, but here was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they said, we're not going to do it. So you don't go bow down. They heard the music. The music started playing. Everybody was doing this here and worshiping Nebuchadnezzar's statue. Somebody got to hold the music! Hold the music! These guys aren't bowing down to the statue. So what they did, they went to Nebuchadnezzar. This is what happened. Listen. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage, they told Nebuchadnezzar what had happened, that these three guys weren't bowing down to the statue. They said, then Nebuchadnezzar said, bring them in here. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Is it true? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now he goes on, he says, now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. He said, well, it'll be good for you. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Otherwise he said, you guys, if you don't bow down to that image, when you hear that piano playing up there, I want you to know what it's going to sound like. Play me just a couple tunes there. Okay, you hear that? That means that you're going to fall down and worship that image. And if you don't, we're going to make fried fish out of you. French fries. We're going to cook you up. You're going to burn in the fire. And so he told them, we're going to burn you up. We'll throw you in the furnace. Listen to what they said. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we be not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve. They said, we don't serve your God. They said, the God that we serve, the God of heaven, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And then it says that Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. It's like this. You're going to do what? That makes me mad. Go put more wood on the fire. Get it as hot as you can. Take these guys and throw them in the fire. So the soldiers came and got them. And they bound them, it says, in their hosen and in all of their clothes, their robes and everything they had on. They took a rope and they put it around him. They put it around him. They put it around him. And then they took them off. They marched them off. Okay, you guys. Get over there towards the fire. Get over. Get over there. I'll tell you what. And as soon as they got close to the fire, the guy that was taking them, oh, Todd, and he fell down dead. But they fell into the fire. Fall down, boys. Fall down. Fall down. They fell down into the fire. But then they got back up. They got back up. And they was walking around in the fire. Walking around in a circle. And walking around in the fire, but there was somebody else with them. He was a big man. His name was... Where's that? His name was Jesus. And Jesus was with them in the fire. And the fire did not burn them up. You know why? Because they obeyed the Lord. And they did what the Lord told them to do. And they wasn't afraid when Nebuchadnezzar said, we'll burn you up. And they said, we know that our God is able to take care of us. We know that God is the great God of heaven. And we're not going to worship your image that you've got set up over here. But we're going to serve the God of heaven. Nebuchadnezzar's standing up there and he's watching this. And he looks down there in the fire. He sees Shadrach, Meshach, what's your name? Abednego. But he sees somebody else. And he's unlike anybody else in that fire. He said he's like the Son of Man, the Son of God. In there. And he recognized that it was God in there. Because he was different. And he was talking with Shadrach and Abednego. And they were talking. And the king couldn't understand what was going on. He said, didn't we just throw 3 in there? They said, oh, king, that's true. We only threw 3 of them in there. He said, oh, wait a minute. I didn't go very high in school, but I think I can count that. 1, 2, 3, 4. But we only threw 1, 2, 3 in there. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4. He said that there was 4 in there. Listen to me. If you obey the Lord, He'll be there with you all the time. You know why? Because He loves you. He loved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego obeyed him. You want girls, boys, listen to me. Remember in our puppet skit how that me first was always trying to get Susie to do something else? That's what Nebuchadnezzar was trying to do to them. But they did what was right. Susie kept making some mistakes and she kept listening to me first. Do you know who me first is? He's like the devil. And he's always trying to get you to do something that you shouldn't do. And he's always trying to get you away from the Lord. He's always wanting you to worship a different God. He's always wanting you to do what everybody else did. Remember, everybody else in the kingdom there was bowing down to this, except for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Everybody else was bowing down. You know, sometimes your friends are going to do wrong. But that doesn't mean that you have to do wrong. Sometimes your friends aren't going to go to church. But that shouldn't keep you from going to church. Sometimes your friends are going to say some things that aren't very nice. But that doesn't mean that you should say things that aren't very nice. Sometimes your friends don't obey their parents. But you should always obey your parents. Sometimes they don't want anything to do with the Lord. But you should always want to serve the Lord. You know why? Because the Lord loves you. And He kept Shadrach, Meshach, and from burning up in the fire. They didn't burn up. So Nebuchadnezzar called them out of the fire. He said, Shadrach, come out of there! And so they come out of the fire. And you know what the Bible says? You couldn't even smell smoke on them. You know, a lot of times, and here it is, it's the 4th of July on Saturday, and you'll be out maybe around some fireworks, or maybe around a campfire, cooking some hot dogs or something, or maybe barbecue, and if you're out around that, next thing you know, you smell like smoke. Now, you wasn't in that fire, but the smoke was around you, and your clothes picked it up, and if you really smell yourself, I smell like smoke. But you know what the Bible said? They didn't even smell like smoke. Why? Because Jesus Christ said, I'm not going to let anything hurt them. They're not even going to smell like smoke. He said, because I love them. Thank you, everybody. Listen to me. They did what the Lord told them to do. They wasn't like Susie that kept going off course. They decided, I'm going to live for the Lord. You know what's going to happen? Listen to me now. Sunday's coming. You've been in church. Most of you have been here at Vacation Bible School Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And somebody's always saying, you don't need to go to church on Sunday. You're just in church all week. Do you know who that is? That's the devil. The Lord wants you to be in church on Sunday. Why? Because He knows what's important in your life. He loves you. And He cares for you. And He doesn't want you to do like Susie and turn your life away from Paradise Island. He wants you to go on. You know what Paradise Island, the reason we chose the name Paradise Island, you know what that we really want you to think about it being? Heaven. Heaven. Because everybody in here, you should want to go to heaven one of these days. And it is a place of paradise. It's a place that God prepared for you and me. We could have eternal life. And it's because Jesus Christ loved you. Everybody in here. John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. He loves you. And He cares for you. And He cares about where you're going to spend eternity. He doesn't want you to go into the fire. But if you're saved, He'll be with you all the time. But Satan wants to throw you in the fire. He wants you to die without Jesus Christ. And he wants you to go to a place that is burning forever, a place called hell. But the Lord doesn't want that. And so Jesus went to Calvary and He took your sins and my sins on Him, and they nailed Him to the cross. And He died on the cross. And then they took His body down and they put it in a tomb. And on the third day He arose from the dead. And because He lives, we can live also. He died for you and He died for me. In Romans chapter 5 and verse 8 says, "But God commendeth His love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." Somebody had to die for sin. And Jesus did. But it's up to you. You have a choice. Listen to me. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had a choice. They could have done what everybody else did and bowed to that idol. But they didn't. They obeyed God. You have a choice. You can do what everybody else does, or you can ask Jesus Christ to come into your heart and save you. Then you too will go to a place called heaven. Place where Jesus Christ is. But that's a choice you have to make. But understand this. We're all sinners. We've all sinned. We've done wrong. And because of that, we're on our way to a place called hell. And that Jesus died for you and me that we can have eternal life. You can ask Jesus Christ to come into your heart, life, and save you. You have a choice even today to do what everybody else does, or be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and obey God. To follow Him, first of all, and ask Him to come into your heart, life, and save you. But after that, to live for Him and go to church, to read His Bible and live for Him like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. He said, "I'll always be with you." He said, "I'll never leave thee nor forsake thee." Why? Because Jesus Christ loves you. Young people, listen to me. I want you to never forget that Jesus Christ